Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of Do Life Big. I'm so excited to have you here today. We're going to be talking about some really good stuff today. And before we dive in, let's start with this. Have you ever felt like no matter how much effort and time that you put into your business that you just can't seem to break through to that next level of income? Like maybe you've hit a certain amount, right? Let's say maybe you're at 5K months or maybe 10K months, whatever it is. And you just keep circling back to it. And no matter how much you push and no matter how much time you put in and no matter how much action you take, nothing really seems to change. And if this sounds familiar, here's what I want you to know. It's not your strategy that's the problem. It is your mindset. And in today's episode, we're going to really dive into these hidden mental blocks that are keeping you stuck and, more importantly, how to reprogram them so that you can finally reach the success that you've been working for so hard. So let's dive in here. And I remember what this is like because I remember being at a multi-six-figure income plateau about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was killing myself. I was doing all the work. I was reading all the PD. I was staying up so late. And I just kept telling myself that if I just push harder, if I just keep 10xing everything, if I just keep grinding and keep hustling, that the income will finally come to me. And especially since that was the message that most of us about 12 years ago were taught, that your income was going to be a direct reflection between how much time and effort and energy you put into it. That in order to make a significant amount of income, you had to haul some serious ass and basically kill yourself and hit burnout for it to happen. And it's not true. That is a myth. And I remember being at that multi-six-figure income plateau being like, but I'm doing all these things, right? I'm doing what my mentors of the time 12 years ago had taught me. So I am showing up. I am putting in the work. I have a business mentor. I'm staying up later. I'm doing PD every single day. I am taking action and nothing is changing. And it wasn't until I realized that it's not your actions that are going to determine your results. It's not just your strategy. It's not just about the doing. It's more about changing your identity and who are you being while you're doing the things that you need to do in your business. And most online entrepreneurs believe that if they just have the right strategy, if they just have the right marketing plan, if they have the perfect sales funnel, that they'll finally hit that next level. And don't get me wrong, strategy is important. It's essential, but it's only about 20% of the equation. The other 80%, it's all mindset. And just think about it. If strategy alone created success, then every single person who took a business course or had a business mentor or went through a training or followed a step-by-step plan, they'd be wealthy. But that's not the case, right? The real difference between those who break through and those who stay stuck is in the way that they think. It's their beliefs, their identity, and then their subconscious programming around money, around success, and what's possible for them. So if you're someone who's been hustling, you've been following all the right strategies, but you're still not seeing results, it's time to stop tweaking that little to-do list and start rewiring your mind for more success in your life, because your income will never surpass the level of your mindset. So let's talk about some of these common mental blocks that might be keeping you actually stuck at your current level. And let's just see if any of these resonate. So there's a very common one here that I help a lot of my students overcome, which is the fear of success. Now, I remember when I heard about this like way back in the day, years ago, when I first started business, I just couldn't understand it. I was like, the fear of success. I'm like, who the heck would be fearful of succeeding, right? It just sounds so crazy. But deep down, you might associate more success with more pressure, with more responsibility, or even judgment from others. And so you unconsciously self sabotage yourself. It's very common. If failing at a higher level feels more painful than staying right where you are, your subconscious will keep you playing small, no matter what. Then there's also the money mindset blocks. These are good ones, right? At one point or another, we've all struggled with the money mindset blocks. But if you grew up hearing things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, rich people are bad, people who have money are bad, then you might grow up and even to this day might have an internal conflict about making more money. And another really common one is believing that you're not worthy. If you've been stuck at the same income level for a while, just ask yourself for a second right now, do you truly believe that you deserve this? Because if part of you thinks, well, who am I to be making this kind of money anyways? That belief will block you every single time. And so here's the thing. Most of these beliefs, they're not even conscious. You aren't even aware that you're doing them. They're just running in the background like an old program on repeat 90% of your day. And it's the same thoughts recycled day in and day out. And they're dictating your results without you even realizing it. And so maybe one of those examples kind of resonated with you and you were like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm afraid of failing, or I'm fearful that if I have success, I'm going to have more responsibility, or I might outgrow my friends, or I might outgrow my family, or whatever it is for you. And so now you might be thinking, okay, well, that's wonderful, but how can I actually go and change this? So here's where the real work is going to happen for you. I'm going to give you 3 steps. All right. The first step is to start to just be a little bit more aware. You can't change what you don't see. So start noticing your patterns. Where do you tend to hesitate in business? Where do you tend to procrastinate or overthink? When do you get stuck in this perfectionism or self-doubt? And those moments are clues to your subconscious beliefs. So just that first step of being aware, you'll start to change things. The second step is to now you've got to change that belief. So when you notice a limiting thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, or what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? What will they say about me? Ask yourself this simple question. Is this actually true? Like, is this actually true? Or is this just an old bullshit story that I've been telling myself that's resurfacing again? Because a lot of times these beliefs, they'll just crumble if you just take a step back and really just examine them again. And then the third step is where you start to actually rewire new thoughts. This is where you're going to start to replace that old belief with a new empowering one. If you haven't downloaded my free ebook called Think This Not That, go to Kathy.Reuter/Think This Not That. We'll put it in the show notes for you, but it will give you 19 of the most common limiting beliefs that entrepreneurs think, so that when you catch yourself, you can actually replace it with the more empowering, positive belief instead. So go grab that right now if you haven't already. But instead of, for example, thinking, I'm not good enough, that will shift and be replaced with, I am more than capable of success. Instead of thinking, God, money is so hard to make, or I have to work hard to build a 6-figure business, shift that to, money flows to me easily and abundantly. Money flows to me freely and abundantly. And your subconscious mind believes what you tell it repeatedly. So the only reason why you're thinking these limited ways of thinking in your subconscious right now is only because you've trained your brain to think that way for so long. And your brain is negative. Your brain actually doesn't want you to be happy. It doesn't want you to have success. It's a protective mechanism. So just like you've trained your brain to hold on to all of these limited negative ways of thinking and all these beliefs, you can retrain and you can reprogram your mind to have a new positive belief system with more powerful, empowering thoughts. And then your brain, your mind will start to believe it. So the more that you affirm these new beliefs, the more your mind is going to actually accept them as the truth. Because remember, I know that I've said this on so many different episodes, but your mind does not know the difference between real or imaginative. So you may as well train your brain to think big, to think endless possibility, to think abundantly, to think positive, to think about success, to think about being a magnet to whatever it is that you want versus limited ways of thinking that are going to keep you stuck playing small. So I'll share with you this really quick story. I had a student of mine, a client of mine a while ago, and she wanted me to help her. And she wanted me to help her because she was really stuck at these 5K months and it had been like over a year. So she was doing all the things. She said she was posting, she was selling, she was showing up, she was doing it all, but nothing was moving. The needle wasn't moving in her business. And she was really frustrated. And she started to have self-doubt creep in. And she started to wonder if maybe she was even going to be able to succeed in this business or not. And when we dug into it, she realized that she had a deep fear that if she made more money, she would outgrow her friends and her family. And then they would resent her for the success that she had. How many can relate to that, right? And so every time that she started to gain some momentum in her business, she would unconsciously pull back. She'd miss deadlines. She'd start to doubt herself. She'd hold off on doing her next launch. And the list just goes on. But once we identified that block and we worked on reprogramming her mindset around success and relationships, everything started to shift for her. And then within 3 months, she was able to hit her first 12K month. And now she's been scaling beyond that. So this is why mindset work is so powerful. It's not just about thinking positive and thinking happy-go-lucky la-la thoughts, but it's about uncovering and rewiring the deep hidden beliefs that are quietly dictating your success and keeping you playing small. And this is why I've created my Inspired Living Collective community for people to join. Because in that community, we teach you how to become a next level CEO, not just in your business, but a next level CEO in your life. We really dive into this, rewiring your mind for more success and happiness so that it's your default way of thinking. So if you want to join that group and you want to be a part of this with a bunch of amazing other women, make sure that you just send me an email at kathy.reuter@gmail.com and you can just simply put in the subject line, next level. And I'll know exactly what it means and I can get you more information about how you can become a part of that community. So before we wrap things up, I just want to give you just a couple of exercises so that you can start shifting your mindset right now. The first one is just a quick little daily belief shifting exercise is what I like to call it. And what I want you to do is every single morning, like every single morning, no matter what, I want you to write down the income goal that you're aiming for, whatever it is. And then what I want you to do is once you have that income goal written down, I want you to write out any thoughts that come up. Now, remember, this isn't for anyone to see. This isn't for you to read with anybody. So anything that comes up, any kind of doubts, any kind of fears, excitement, whatever it is, don't judge yourself. Write it all down. And if there's any hesitation or limiting belief there, I want you to rewrite it into an empowering statement. And this is where that think this, not that document that I have will come in really helpful for you. So make sure you download that. The next piece is I want you to do just a little bit of visualization where you close your eyes, and you can do this in the shower. That's when I like to do it, or before you fall asleep at night. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself at your next income level. What is that next income level? Is it 50K a year? Is it 100? Is it 500? Is it your first $1 million year? What is it? And then I really want you to see it. I want you to feel it. And I want you to experience it as if it's happening right now. Like you are already there. You are already that next level CEO of your business and life right now. And the more real that you make it in your mind, the easier it is to become an actual reality because your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imaginative. And if it truly believes that that is what it's going to get, guess what's going to happen? During your day, you are going to automatically be taking more aligned action, more intentional action in your business. You're going to know and be doing the right things in your business to move the needle. And it's not just going to be just any old action, like let's just check this off the to-do list. It's going to be inspired action, backed with confidence and energy. And everything is energy. If you don't have an exciting energy behind your action, or when you're talking to people, or when you're doing the sales calls or sending your emails, whatever it is, people can feel that. People are drawn to energy. So how would that person who's making 6 figures a year show up? What kind of energy would they have around them? How would they talk? How would they sound? And really just make it as real as you can. And then the last thing I want you to do is to make a list. Make a list of all the little small wins every day that will prove that you can actually do this. So every day, make it a goal to write down 2 or 3 small wins that prove that you are already becoming the person who earns at that level. It could be an awesome conversation that you had. It could be a call that you made. It could be a podcast that you launched or a podcast episode that you were interviewed on. It could be a new client. Whatever you do. It could even be the way that you handled a challenge differently. You were handling this challenge differently because you were already adopting the identity of somebody who's a 6 or 7 figure income earner. So I want you to keep that little list every day, 2 to 3 small wins that prove that you are already becoming that person. And the more that you shift your thoughts and identity, the faster that your external world is going to catch up to it. So I really hope that this episode kind of opened your eyes to all the little hidden mental blocks that might be holding you back. Your mindset is literally everything. It is the missing link. It is the reason why you are not where you want to be, why you don't have the things you want to have, why you don't feel the way that you want to feel. It is all mindset. It's everything. You change your beliefs and your entire business and life will follow. So if any of this resonated with you, and you know you need some deeper support in rewiring your mind for success, I am inviting you to join my Inspired Living Collective community. This is where we dive deep into this kind of work every single week and help you develop into the next level CEO of your business and life, which you are meant to become anyways. So I hope that you loved today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. You know I love you, and I will see you the next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.